The article addresses the need for leaders who can function both in traditional and non-traditional structures. It evaluates competences needed in leadership training curriculum. The main idea in the article is that traditional leadership is no longer sufficient in this era, and therefore a study is done on two leadership programs that evaluate training approaches for collaborative leadership competences. And these training programs are the Public Executive Leadership Academy and the Supervisory Leadership Training Program. There is need now more than ever in public administration for collaborative initiatives. The research in question explores and builds skills and competences needed for public managers to thrive in collaborative contexts. The goals were to evaluate and build collaborative competencies, to evaluate training approaches and also the program content required, and also to evaluate the possible outcomes from the two different training programs. The outcomes following the study were that the two approaches did produce different results. The pillar illustrates individual growth on all relevant measures over time, while the SLT does not. And this is because the pillar program devotes a majority of its time in the program to collaboration, unlike the SLT. The SLT only has a small portion of collaboration skills in its supervisory skills section. So having said that, it was determined that extensive training is actually required to improve on the leadership competences in collaboration. Also, I should mention here that the learning outcome assessment was actually done through self-assessment and emerging leadership competences. Therefore, there is need for further research to evaluate behavioral outcomes and also to really determine if the leadership training on collaboration did actually lead to collaborative workforce improvement. And more on the outcomes will be discussed in the recommendations.
This section will discuss the collaborative governance trainings that was provided to the two local governments in North Carolina and Kansas. The City of North Carolina participated in the Public Executive Leadership Academy, also known as PELA, and the City of Kansas participated in the Supervisory Leadership Training, also known as SLT. These trainings emphasize the importance of collaborative governance and discuss the following topics: leadership and management, communication, analytical skills, knowledge management, and professional accountability. The PELA training program focuses on collaboration, while collaboration skills are only one component in the SLT program. This slide will provide an overview of the PELA training that was developed by the University of North Carolina and was provided to a city located in North Carolina. This training's program goals include preparing local government managers to lead across boundaries and act as community change agents. The training cohort size is 25 per class and includes senior and mid-level managers. It is a 10-day training that is divided into two one-week sessions separated by a month. The training framework consists of community leadership and leading across boundaries. The training topics include facilitation, conflict resolution, collaborative decision-making, communication, intergovernmental relations, and citizen engagement. The methods for the training are in-class lectures, discussion, scenario analysis, group activities, and simulation role play. The innovative approaches that are integrated in the training include 360-degree assessments, learning teams, and a community change project. This slide provides a mean score of PELA participants from 4 cohorts who were asked to fill out a self-assessment based on a list of statements. Some of the questions had to do with leadership generically, while others were more closely aligned with specific collaborative competencies. Some of the survey questions are displayed in the table. Scores on collaborative governance statements scored lower than those with generic leadership qualities. This data set demonstrates that people have a higher competency to lead rather than work collaboratively with other stakeholders. This further proves that collaborative governance training opportunities are essential to evolve the mindset of today's leaders to be able to work with others and have successful outcomes towards reaching a common goal that will benefit the community they serve. This slide provides an overview of the SLT competency training that was provided to a city located in Kansas. The program goal was to prepare local government managers to lead across boundaries. The cohort consisted of 20 mid-level managers, and this is a 3-day training with a framework that includes supervisors as leaders and relationship-based leadership. The training topics are leadership styles, managing culture, coaching and motivation, performance management, teamwork, and collaboration. The training methods consist of in-class lectures, discussion, scenario analysis, and group activities. The innovative approaches include self-assessment and peer learning applications. This slide and the following slide include 14 questions that were part of the SLT survey that specifically focused on collaborative governance. The SLT survey results demonstrate that for those who perceive themselves as above average in terms of collaborative ability, were significantly more likely to indicate the importance of developing listening and communication skills, which can be considered an emergency competency area for leadership development. The strongest correlation was between these two emergency leadership competencies, self-awareness and listening and communication. This relationship exists among treatment group members but is not illustrated among control group members, suggesting a training impact. This survey found that the more an individual understands their public service role as an integral aspect of local government, the more they are willing to work with others outside their department for the overall good of the community. The strongest correlation was between these two emerging leadership competencies, self-awareness and listening and communication. This relationship exists among treatment group members but is not illustrated among control group members, suggesting a training impact. This survey found that the more an individual understands their public service role as an integral aspect of local government, the more they are willing to work with others outside their department for the overall good of the community. Participants consistently cited a change in how they view and appreciate others, implying that their style is less directive and more relation-based, which is consistent with working in collaborative settings. Additionally, there are more references to seeing the big picture. Another dominant theme was recognition by participants that their facilitation skills were improved and were being utilized. While the SLT survey statements are not generalizable, they do reflect recognition by program participants of changes in their leadership toward a more collaborative approach, again suggesting that collaborative competencies can be developed or enhanced through leadership development programs.